Good morning, YouTube. Every once in a while, I like to cover a topic that makes sure April never moves back to Chicago. And I found one out of Chicago involving a rapper Lil Zay Osama.
Okay.
Are you familiar with him?
I am not.
You have not had the pleasure of meeting him?
No, I have not.
Well, he is facing a lot of prison time because he accidentally left his weapon in his Uber, his rideshare.
How do you leave a weapon?
A Glock that had been modified to shoot automatically.
What?
To just, unload.
He left that in an Uber?
He left it in there, and, the Uber driver found it.
That's so scary.
Reported it to the police, and now he is facing up to 20 years in prison.
I feel bad for Uber drivers, because it's just complete strangers getting in the back of your car. Like, you have no idea who these people are.
Right.
I guess that's what, like, a taxi driver, any chauffeur is like that, but that just seems extra dangerous.
So this happened in September of 2022, but he's just now getting charged here at the end of January.
Yeah, and see, I never heard about it, but that sounds so dangerous.
Right. Only 26 years old. He has other legal issues. So having a weapon on top of that, let alone one that's been modified, not good.
I mean, what are Uber drivers supposed to do? Have like a metal wand to search everyone and look through your purse or look through your bag every time someone gets in your car? I mean, maybe if you're in Chicago, that's the new standard of what you have to do.
Well, it had me curious because Uber drivers, I'm sure, find all kinds of things, and actually Uber at the end of the year compiles a list of the strangest, the most common things, and the most common, most forgetful places.
Yeah.
So I thought you'd like this, but also first, don't move back to Chicago.
Oh, right, yeah. No, Chicago's been interesting as far as Ubers. And
so, 10 most common things left in an Uber: clothing, phones, backpacks and purses, wallets, headphones, jewelry, keys, books, laptops, and watches.
Right.
The 10 most forgetful cities.
Oh. Okay.
What state do you think is the most forgetful?
The most forgetful. I know, like, the slowest states, like, that take forever
like the dumbest ones?
No.
Oh.
No, but they take their time. Like, if you're checking out at, like, a pharmacy or at Walgreens or at a gas station, they're just like, hello, how you doing, little lady? And, like, in the South, they're just everything takes a really long time.
I was just thinking, where is the most meth? And where is the most cracked out people doing the dumb thing? And it's Florida. Florida man.
Yeah.
Florida man. So yeah, top of the list.
Really?
Jacksonville, Florida. San Antonio, Texas. Palm Springs, California. Houston, Texas. Salt Lake City, Utah. Miami, Florida. Atlanta, Georgia. Indianapolis, Indiana. Kansas City, Kansas.
Really?
Yeah,
you made it on the list?
Almost 3 hours away from us. St. Louis, Missouri.
Interesting. So Chicago's not even on there.
Right.
Okay.
So have you ever left anything in an Uber?
I've left jackets, but the thing that's great about Uber is you can contact them right away and contact the driver and just get your stuff back.
I don't think I've ever left anything in an Uber.
Well, you're just so special, aren't you?
Well, I don't carry very much. I do know, like, when I'm filming, I have to drop off a car, and then I had to Uber to a different place in the middle of the day or whatever, so I would Uber from place to place. And I have my camera gear.
Oh,
and when I fold up my tripod, and, there's the camera and there's the handle, and I'm walking up to the Uber like this, and I look like, not physically like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it looks like I'm carrying some crazy Gatling thing, and they kind of get scared for a second, then realize I'm holding a camera and not a weapon myself.
Right. I know Uber drivers are very talkative.
Not to me.
Especially
We've talked about this before. Yeah.
In Kansas.
They don't talk to me.
Very talkative.
Uber drivers want to talk to you.
I don't know. Maybe you just look like, it's been known, people have said that you have resting. I don't think you do, but I've heard people say that you have that, so maybe they're just kind of intimidated by you, and then they just think that you're not very friendly looking. I don't know, but which you are, you're very, very friendly. So I don't know what it is, but here in Kansas, if you ever come to Wichita, the Uber drivers are so talkative.
You showed up to Kansas and you're like Wonder Woman to these people.
No.
Like they're not used to seeing something like this, so they're like, why are you here? Like even the one time you arrived in the airport where they said you're way too sophisticated for Kansas, which
that guy was weird.
So then the Uber drivers are just like, what is Wonder Woman doing in the back of my Uber? Like, why isn't she being picked up in a Maybach or a Phantom or something? So it's fascinating. They got to get the story.
I remember back in the day, Uber wasn't as regulated, and the Uber drivers in Chicago were super creepy. Like, they would call you, they'd come to your house. Like, I remember they're handing you their business cards all the time. Like, call me, hit me up later. I have another side job if you need help with anything else, or call me if you want me to pick you up later from this restaurant. And there's a lot of, like, I had an Uber driver one time he's turning around, constantly talking to me, which I'm nervous because we're on the highway to go downtown Chicago, and he keeps turning around to talk to me. He starts asking me if I'm wearing a bra or not, and it was just a weird situation because...
Is it a boomer?
He was a boomer. He was a boomer.
Of course.
Of course.
What is the no filter with, like, what...
And they get away with it, and then...
Well, I mean, it's not something they would do in public, but on a one-on-one situation, it's like any decorum just goes out the window.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I mean, even just them talking to me, like, we were at Barrett Jackson doing the live TV coverage, and you know, it's all wonderful, but then, you know, one guy comes up to you and says, I liked it better when you were a brunette.
Well, yeah.
And it's like... And you're nice, and you say, "Oh, I love your hair. I like it." And he's like, "Salt and pepper." Boomer.
I meant to say I liked your hair better when it was like brown because he had gray hair, but I couldn't be mean.
It's like
so I said I like your hair better gray.
Just the weirdness of that. I mean, I encounter it too, where there's just a weirdness there. I don't understand. Like, I don't see it with Gen Xer, with our generation, with the younger people. It's something about like, and even like our grandparents' generation, they weren't like that.
Yeah.
You know, they may have been a little casually racist, but you know, like where they could talk publicly about, but like one-on-one, I didn't see them like.
Yeah. Well, there's that other boomer at Barrett Jackson in the Lions jersey that's talking to me about how he loves my long legs and how tall I am, and that there's girls can buy everything. You can buy lips and boobs and everything and nick tup everywhere, but you can't buy height. And so all girls are jealous because I'm tall. And he's going on and looking me up and down. He goes, yes, the height, that is so sexy. I love that. And I'm thinking, like, is he going to stop? And he's going on. And the thing was that he was with this car that I was about to talk about. And I'm waiting for the time on the block where I can jump in. Our producers talk to us in our ear. And so I have to stay with this car until there's an appropriate moment in between when other cars sell.
And he has no concept of that, and it's just blabbing you up.
He thinks I'm hanging out with him and his car, constantly talking about my long legs. And this is a guy that's like probably 60 years old. And it was very uncomfortable. And I felt like I couldn't really do anything or be mean and upset him or hurt him because this is, you know, he's friends with the consignor of this car, and so I had to be nice, and it was just weird.
You've told plenty of stories of how you've almost been murdered in Chicago. It's, you know, happened a dozen times or so. But was it a taxi cab? Is that the one where they kept driving? Or is that, because Uber is supposed to be more regulated to where it's better, it's more safe than. Well, a taxi's supposed to be regulated too, but was the taxi?
Yeah, I was in a taxi, and it was late at night. I was out drinking, and I was on my way back to my house, which is in Lincoln Square on the north side of Chicago. And I believe we were going down Western Avenue, which is a big street in Chicago. And I'm drunk, I'm in the back, and he passes my neighborhood, and he passes my house. And I'm asking him, and I was drunk, which is why I was in a taxi, and I'm asking him, like, hey, it's back there, it's back there. And he keeps talking, saying, I need to bring you back to my country, they'll love you in my country. And I'm like, what does that mean? All I'm trying to get him to do is to do a U-turn and get back to Lincoln Square, get back to my apartment. It's like probably 2 or 3 in the morning. So we're heading still north, and I know we're about to hit all these spots where there's kind of like seedy motels and stuff. And there was a nightclub right on the left-hand corner, and I see all these police officers hanging out because that nightclub was about to close its doors, and everyone kind of storms out and hangs out in the parking lot, so they have police just kind of sitting there. And I'm thinking, okay, I got to get out of this taxi. Well, every time I go to click the handle, he has his hand on the lock, so I couldn't unlock it. I couldn't open it. Is that a thing where you're able to do that?
Like Crown Vics, I suppose. Yeah, that's possible.
And I kept trying to pop the lock, pop the handle, and every time I would, he would just put his finger on the lock button, and it would stay down. So I couldn't get out. And so that's when my red flags were like, oh no, this is serious. So I see all these cop cars, and I go, you know, if I'm going to get out of here, this is my shot. This is where I need to do something drastic to get someone's attention to get out of this taxi, because we're further away from my apartment, going the complete wrong direction. So we slowed down enough, and going around a curve, I pretended like I was completely passed out, so he wouldn't be trigger happy on getting that lock button. So we're going around a tiny bit of a bend where this nightclub is and these cops are, and I unlocked it, jumped out, and he wasn't quick enough to keep that lock button down, and I roll out of the car. And, you know, even if you're going, I don't know if you've ever jumped out of a moving car. You probably have you?
Not on purpose. But,
Not on purpose. It's a lot more dangerous and it's faster than you think it is. Like, even if you're going 2 miles an hour, it's still very jarring to jump out of a moving car, no matter how fast or slow. So I tumble out of the car, thinking these cops are all gonna see me and they're gonna help me and rescue me. The only thing it did was deter that taxi from stopping. He sped up because he saw those cops there. Now I walk over to the cops, told them what happened. One of them offers to drive me home. This whole time I'm panicked, like, oh, I just got through that. My adrenaline just peaked, so I'm a little shaky. On the way home, he walks me to his door. And I'm not saying all Chicago cops are bad.
To your door of your apartment.
To my door of my apartment, walks me just to make sure I get there okay. And asks me out to dinner. Asks for my phone number and asks me out to dinner. I wish I was making this up because it was so weird. Because at the time, I'm like, do you not believe what just happened? Do you not believe me on this scary moment that I'll remember for the rest of my life? And anytime my girlfriends get into a taxi, I'm gonna be nervous and I'm gonna be like, text me when you get back to your house. And now in this moment, the person that's supposed to be helping you, that's paid to save you, is then asking you out to dinner.
And you continue to live in Chicago for decades after this.
I did live in Chicago for a while, but was hesitant to take taxis after that.
After that wonderful trip down memory lane, it's hard to get back into levity, but holy crap. Isn't
it crazy?
It's terrible.
So be careful if you're taking a taxi in Chicago.
Well, I don't even know how to segue, but here's the list of 50 most unique lost items in the Ubers. So the people who rolled out of their Ubers and then left things behind.
Right.
Did you leave anything behind in that taxi cab?
No, didn't leave anything behind.
Well, good for you.
My innocence was left behind. That's about it.
Okay, number 1, Danny DeVito Christmas ornament.
That is so cool.
Look at her, she's flipping it like this. I almost died. It was terrible. Really?
That is so cool.
This is a weird segue. Yeah, my dog is in the car. Somebody left their toy poodle in the car.
What? That's bad.
A blue cap that says, I love the smell of jet fuel in the morning.
That would be good, actually.
From
I dig
the
that.
Vietnam film. What's it called?
Oh, Good Morning, Vietnam?
No. That's Robin Williams. What's the Apocalypse Now? That's what that is. Okay. A fog machine.
What?
Some bowling rags, which I don't even know what bowling rags are.
What are bowling rags?
An ankle monitor. That would be a big mistake.
Ooh,
Oopsie.
those are hard to get off.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
A unicycle. 16 ounces of fake blood. A printer and remote-controlled vibrator. They left 2 things, and those were the 2 things that they left.
A printer? How do those things go together?
Apparently they left both. A pin with Jesus holding a slice of pizza.
Oh, I can see that.
Small camping stove, and my funeral pamphlets.
Oh, no.
So they're going to go camping and then planning a funeral.
Yeah.
Stainless steel gua sha tool.
Where's that?
What's a gua sha? What is it?
Some, like, for girls.
A facial lifting tool. Well, okay.
But that would be weird.
A cat collar that says Maui on it.
A cat collar?
A calculator and tacos.
What's a cat collar?
Like Neelix, if they had a collar.
Oh,
a cat collar that says Maui
I thought you
on
meant
it.
like a whistle that calls cats with your accent. I couldn't understand.
A collar, the thing that goes around the neck. Sorry, everybody, with the Kansas there. Calculator and tacos. A small stone-carved whale. A sentimental green pin. The Statue of Liberty green foam crown.
Okay.
A lightsaber. Tamagotchi light blue egg-shaped. A hamster.
No. A hamster?
The Hermes scarves. What are those called?
Hermes.
Okay.
I think.
A half-gallon of Fireball. That must have been a good night. A mannequin wig head.
Ooh,
6 cheesecakes. Whoa.
That was a bad night.
That's
for
expensive from the
passenger.
Cheesecake Factory. Jeez. My Happy Sauce.
What's that?
A Happy Sauce. I don't know. Britney Spears fantasy perfume. Taming the Shrew by Shakespeare. 2 fingernails.
Ew.
A fire sword. A small felt stuffed animal that was homemade.
Okay. 2
painted rat traps.
Painted? Like decorative?
Yeah, apparently.
Interesting.
Tattoo ink and gold antlers. A power of attorney document issued by the Turkish consulate.
That sounds dangerous.
2 pet turtles. A lot of pets in here. packets and bundles of fake hair. One person lost their girlfriend. Somebody was also transporting a bidet.
And they left it?
Apparently.
Those are big.
Lotion and chicken wings. What are you going to do with lotions and chicken wings?
They don't go together.
That's a romantic evening, I suppose. I left a slab of bluefin tuna for sushi on the floorboard of the back seat. That's a quote.
Expensive.
One Gucci loafer. Rash cream. That would have been a rough night if you went out for rash cream.
Like hose the upholstery down in the car.
An important pregnancy test. Oh, no.
Whoa.
Self-respect. Okay. Somebody reported they lost their self-respect in an Uber. A feather. A Foley catheter insertion tray kit.
What?
A slushy machine. An entire slushy machine.
That can't be little.
A painting of my wife. No, paintings of my wife.
What?
Weight loss surgery guidebook.
Okay.
Horns and a Viking helmet.
That I could see.
And my friend's fake tooth.
Okay, it's very interesting things people carry with them.
So, yeah.
You've never left anything in an Uber?
Nope. People are most likely to forget their chargers, their phone chargers on Mondays, their keys on Tuesdays, their wallets on Wednesdays, their cash on Thursdays, watches on Fridays, passports on Saturdays, and groceries on Sundays because they're shopping.
I don't get how you leave a watch in an Uber because it's on your wrist.
Well, it just falls off, it breaks or whatever. Yeah.
So then that would be the case for that. Phone charger on Monday because you're out all weekend partying and you're not charging your phone, so I get that one. But, But yeah, the watch, I guess I could break off, so that makes sense. So be careful when you get out of your Uber.
Yes, and just be careful in Chicago in general, or just don't go. Move to Kansas.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for watching.